So we'll have a look at get skeleton today. Get skeleton. This is the website. If you just go to get skeleton and click on download, you will see it downloads instantly. Instantly, it's really lightning fast. It's a bunch of CSS styles. That's it. It's only CSS styles. The only thing it does not include is this navigation. And you can see the navigation. Did I make it disappear? You see this nav? Now in this website of Get Skeleton, he has used 200 lines of code only, 200. It's very lightweight. Out of which 100 is the nav. So what really he gives you is the grid. You see how the grid collapses one below the other as you go. See, collapses. He gives you a grid for content, which is by and large the biggest part of a website, content. He gives you CSS styles for buttons, clean styles for forms. He even gives you this font. Now this font is designed by someone he has given credit to at the bottom. In one of his pages he has given you some extra CSS, and he has given you all the media queries that he's using. So, and I'll explain this to you in just 1 second. So clean tables with this style. He has a few snippets, lists, contact form, but that's just an example, and I want to show you things he has, like, image full width we had in HTML Kickstart. He has got U-max full width for images, pull right to float right, pull left to float left, and CF to clear float. So if you don't want anything to sit by the side. So he's got these styles which you can straight away use, and we'll use them in just a minute. Now let's understand this part here, the media queries. You see this docked menu on top? As I drag my window down, you can see the menu disappears. You can replace it with another menu. You can replace that menu with another menu. And I'll give you an example of a few of those. For example, now this is by another designer, Ali Jafaranian, I think. You can see how the menu gets replaced by another menu. Okay. What is happening is one is becoming display none, and one is becoming removing the class display none. So a class is being added to this one, that's becoming display none, and this display none is becoming display visible. Okay, that's what is happening here. It could be done in different ways, but that's the most likely way to do it. Now you see, this is his custom CSS, and he has got this has docked navbar. The navbar has docked class only on at media minimum width 750. Okay, so it will only appear at a width of 750 pixels. Now in his CSS he mentions the various media queries. You can have as many. If there's a new device tomorrow that has 200 pixel width, you can say minimum width 200. Okay, so these are the queries he has used. He's satisfying about 5 devices. I think HTML Kickstart works for 7 different widths. So it specifies, okay, if the width is this, change the appearance. If the width is this, change the appearance. And that's how it is done, by setting up a media query. What is happening is the phone is constantly sending to the server information about what device it is being used to browse the website and what width the device is working at. There are a lot of things that go in the header when you go on a phone and you try to access a website. A lot of things go with it, and you can see it. If you put some kind of a JavaScript from Google, a very popular one called Google Analytics, there are many services. Google Analytics can actually tell you that the visitors who came to your website, 20% of them used Safari, 45% used Chrome, 3% used a mobile phone, 20% used a tablet. All these details can be acquired because all of these details are sent by the header, and there are programs that can read these details and plot them into graphs for you. So Google Analytics can do that for you quite easy, no problem. So you have these widths, and for every width you can go and specify. I used to have it and I changed it here. Let me just quickly add something to my browser. Also, when you're designing for responsive, you need some kind of a responsive tester. There are many plugins. Responsive tester. And I've been using this one. It worked quite well. There are many responsive testers. So if I now go to the Get Skeleton site, and that was his CSS, you can have a look at his CSS. Now this is also skeleton, but I added a sliding menu to it. So the moment you start doing this, you are adding jQuery. The moment you add jQuery, you are making it bloated. Okay, and there are two such things that I'll give you. One is a skeleton based, and one is Bootstrap based. You can modify it and use it and try and make a one-page resume for yourself. But let's go back here. So this is skeleton, right? I can go here and test this website on. Actually, it's got a demo. Let's use the demo. Somewhere down here is a demo example. So this is an example page. Let's look at this page. If I click here and I look at this page, on an iPhone 6, that's how it looks. When I start changing the width, you can see how the images come side by side, and when I collapse it, at one point they stack up, and that's the whole thing. It gives you a minimal grid which is very small, lightning fast. So let's use it. I've downloaded this. It is sitting in my downloads. It comes with a favorite icon. The favorite icon is what appears on top, and you can have your own PNG file. So you can see this one, that's the favicon.png. You can change the PNG file, and you can see I use it on my sites. I have this MD sitting here. You can see the MD, Multimedia Designer. It's kind of a logo. Skeleton comes with this, that's it. And I'll show you the basic styles for it. So let's go and start editing and creating a simple responsive page without the nav bar. So getting a nav bar is very tricky. So as he said, it was half of his code in his website. Half of the code was the navigation. But let's look at the responsiveness of skeleton. I'm just going to put a page title here, skeleton demo. Now I will leave the container because the container gives the padding and you can inspect the page. If you come here and you sort of inspect the element as I was doing earlier, you can see the container, and the container does have a CSS. It sets the width amongst other things, the padding. Okay, gives it a clean look. You can modify the CSS of that easily, no problem. I'm going to leave the default for now. I'll just start with the heading. I'll go about heading. Let me just get some. Let's say I was doing a. Let's say I was redoing my website. Let me get some content, and I was trying to do it. So I'll just take some. I'll just take 2 paragraphs here. Paste it here as text, and I'll just start putting the p tags for the paragraph. So I'm still creating the HTML tags. All I'm using is a CSS library, and I will need to customize it. So I've got my p tags. I save it and let me view it. Okay, so I've got this happening. Let's see if I can. I think yeah. Let me put div tags. So I'll take one div tag which is this big. And then I'm going to put another div tag. So now I have 2 div tags inside my container div. And I should start indenting it so I can see exactly what's happening. So that I will indent. That I will indent. And I'll put, save it. You won't see much of a difference, okay? The difference will come when I start giving classes. Now this one needs to have a class of, in skeleton the total columns need to be 16. If I say 8 columns and I copy this 8 and 8 columns, now all this is there on that page. If you read through it, you'll find it. Oh, didn't like it. 8 columns, 8 columns. Great. Okay, time to go here. Get skeleton. Eight and 4, 12. Okay, 12. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was 16. Got 8. Doesn't like. Okay, let me add a style so I can see where it's happening. Style equals. I'm doing something very silly here. Border 2 pixels, solid green. Thank you. Yeah, so it has got even some shortcuts. I'll try to get some of them. 1 and 11. Okay, let's see. Oh, I need to put it in a row. There should be the immediate child of a row. So that's the trick. So this there should be the child of a row. So I go here. I need to put a div. So he's structuring the divs like a table. So that's something I missed. So div class equals row. So row 8 and 4. Let's see how we're going. Let's close this. Yep. So that's, and will it collapse as I squeeze it? Yep. So the responsiveness is working. Okay. I'll add an image and then I'll let you have a play with it. So every single piece of code that you have here should have a container to start with. I will put the container has got a heading, then it's got a row, and the row has got my columns. Now within a column, I can put an image. Let me put an image tag. Image source equals. Let me copy some image there. I'll just copy some picture there. So I'll take an old sketch or maybe a new sketch. I'll take the older one, and I'll just copy it into one of my folders, desktop. Actually, you can have a laugh. I'll take a newer one. I'll put it in desktop. Oh, I think I'm working in download, so I'll just go here.
With the picture, did you do it manually or did you use a program?
I manually painted over a photo. So programs don't do a good job. Yeah, the filters of Photoshop. So you're better off getting one of those tablets and painting over it. But you need to paint a few times before you get the features right. And I think I made the eyes a bit, because I was trying to keep my eyes open for the photograph, so my eyes went up. Okay. So now I think I should be able to pick up that photo if I go to browse on the downloads. And I should have defined a site, but I haven't. So I have that source, but let me give it a class. Now I think the class I read was class equals u full width. I think so. That will give it a width of the div tag. Let me see. So if I come here and so it gives it the width of the div tag.
Yeah.
And then I need to sort of give it a padding and left, right, or so on. And if I really wanted it half of that, so you see how I have in this 8 columns, I can have further divs. I can have one div for the image, right? And I can have a second div tag for the text. And each of these can be one half. I think I can use 1/2 columns. It's got some shortcut things, some shortcut styles somewhere. It does mention shortcut styles. Let's have a look. Lists, code, table, media queries, utilities. Helpers. Yeah, there you go, shorthand. So you can say 1/2 column or 1/3 column. So I think, so you can have 1/3 and 2/3, and that makes, or you can have 1/2 and 1/2. But again, I just realized I need a row. So to use 1/2 column, I'm just going to copy it so I get it right, because 1/2 has to be written with a hyphen. So 1/2 column, and so that's the div tag containing the image. And then the second div tag now these two have to go inside a row, and I think I can call this as a row as well. So there. So this 8 column, I've also called it a row. What was 8 columns is now also a row, which means inside that row I can have more columns. You see how inside a row I can have columns? So this is a row now, and I have 2 columns, a picture and text. So that's how you do the grid, and you can see now if I actually collapse it, it should collapse nicely, nicely, and nicely. See that? So that's skeleton. That's pretty much a demo of skeleton. It's got forms, it's got styling for forms, styling for fonts, everything. Have a play with it. I will also put up some jQuery samples. Now, there are two other things that I did. When I was looking up responsiveness, we will look at the Bootstrap framework. I don't use Bootstrap because it's very bulky. When you download it, it's really bulky. It sits with jQuery and it is CSS. But you can strip it down to use whatever you need. If you just need one jQuery and one particular CSS, you can strip it down. So there's a stripped down version, and I found one from this really talented person. He works out of Colorado, USA, and it's pretty good. Yeah, that this is the one, and this is on Bootstrap. That's based on skeleton, but there is something else I wanted to show you. Looks like I've deleted it, but I'll look it up and I'll give it to you. Stop recording this.